America. It is I, Jay Sills the Lion, and it is Thursday night, and we are here for another episode of the Book of Man Book Study. And I want to bring in all my holiday lovers, all the folks that had the tree up since before Thanksgiving, had the lights up, the yard right, the wreaths up, the stockings up over the mantle place, got the decorations throughout the house, the mistletoe, the holly. Where my Christmas lovers at? The dads who had to be on the roof putting up the lights because the wife said she had to have them look a certain way. Got the light flashing on the whole house, lighting up the neighborhood. The kids stop by and say, "Ooh, look at that house. Where y'all at? Come on in and join us tonight." On the Book of Man Book Study, we doing this way in Superior, man. I got none other than Doc in the building. What's going on, big brother?
Yo, man, what's up? I was that dude. I was that dude a couple of weeks ago. Wife had me up on the ladder, me and the boy.
Oh,
She said,
man,
I want
hey,
it right there.
yes, sir. Got to get it. She got to have it. She wanted. You got to get it. Make sure she get it. You
Oh,
good? Or you got you some. You got you some built-in help. So
oh,
you all
yeah,
right?
okay. Yeah, he old enough to do it by himself too, so we all right.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, man. But you know what? Got to give honor. You know who in the house today?
There it is.
Yeah,
OG is in
always
the
OG.
building.
Yeah, been supporting since day one. Always been here,
Yes, sir.
24/7.
Yes,
Moderator in the
sir.
group, everything. So, hey, we love OG. He is here. He earned that title.
For
Definitely
sure.
earned
100% earned it. We
it.
love to see him in here. You always drop some good jewels during the broadcast. You
Oh
don't know
yeah.
who we talking about? You need to figure it out. He in the building.
Oh yeah. We got Damian and Freddie Brown in the house too. So we about to get some good stuff going today.
Oh yeah, there's about to be some knowledge spread in. You better listen up. So we getting into this book pretty strong.
Yeah. Oh, but hold on. Before we do that, hey,
Oh,
if y'all want to interact with us, two things to do: drop a comment below, or whenever I drop the link, if you want to come up, if we know you already, you just say, "Hey, let me come up." I'll shoot you the link. You can come on up and do it. Yeah. So let's go. That's it.
let's go. And remember, like, share, subscribe. Let the folks know. Invite people to the group. Whatever you want to do, we here, the Book of Man, and we ain't going nowhere. Now, we doing the way of the superior man. We headlong into the book, and we coming up on three chapters that's probably three of the hardest chapters to accept.
Yeah. Yeah. It's convicting, man, and it shows you that the way that you thought about stuff and the way you did stuff, it didn't line up. Matter of fact, I always tell folks that everybody else doesn't think like you.
Right.
And we believe everybody thinks like us. So that's why we end up in the situations we in.
Yeah, to a certain extent, when you look at a situation in your mind, you can't make sense of it,
Yeah.
or you can't figure out why this thing or that thing doesn't register with somebody else.
Hmm.
And these chapters we're about to go through will give you not so much an example of those things, but maybe help you understand why
Yeah.
something you thought counted or something you thought should matter
Boy,
maybe didn't matter the way you thought it should.
yeah. You know what? Let's go ahead and jump in.
Okay,
All
let's do
right. Chapter 32 of part 4. She really doesn't want to be number one.
it. Mm,
Now, and this is one we all struggle with. This is part of the game that they never told you, or when they did tell you, they didn't really explain it because it don't make sense. Um, but he said a woman sometimes seems to want to be the most important thing in her man's life.
yep, that's
However,
what he say.
if she is the most important thing, then she feels her man has made her the number one priority and is not fully dedicated or directed to growth and service. She will feel her man's dependence on her for his happiness, and this will make her feel smothered by his neediness and clinging. And at the end, he said, even though she will never admit it, she wants to feel that her man will be willing to sacrifice their relationship for the sake of his highest purpose.
And I agree wholeheartedly
Hmm.
with this, but I think the world does a great job of confusing young men
Hmm.
on this subject. Because if you let social media tell it, hell, if you let a lot of women tell it, they'll tell you, hell, we done made songs about it. Put that woman first,
Yeah.
you know? Um, and I really believe it's a time and a place.
Hmm.
I think earlier in the books, he said she'd rather have 30 minutes of your undivided attention. So
Yes.
I think if you put her first for a set amount of time,
Time
that's
and place.
workable.
It's
Time
a
and place.
certain times. For example, I mean, I tell y'all this story real quick. I was running that tire warehouse up the road here, and hurricanes was coming. Now I'm the man in charge, like the general manager. I ain't gonna talk. Yeah, I'm gonna forget him because I was doing all the manager stuff. This joke had headaches every day and was going home, so I was running the place. So hurricanes coming. I got 50 dudes I got to take care of. They got to shut the place down. With the big boss people from Korea was there too. And my wife was calling me, telling me I need to come home because she's scared of the storms and the storms coming. So I can't come home and give you what you want because I got this responsibility. I'm here and these men are looking to me to, for leadership and guidance. I couldn't do it. And one thing I hear my wife say all the time, you know what? She'll be mad for a little bit, but she'll get over it. That's what she
Hmm.
say. And that's pretty much what it amounts to. You know what? The people that y'all think gonna be upset with y'all and how hard the house gonna be, it only gonna last for a little bit, then she'll be
Right.
get over it.
Well, and I agree with you. I say like this, you know, you got to find your purpose. You got to have your duties and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think when women and the world come with that put a woman first thing, I, I don't I don't think people take the time to define that. They don't take the
Right.
time to break that down. If you on vacation with your family or
Hmm.
vacation with your lady for the next week or the next few days, yeah, she needs to be your priority. Your family
Yeah.
needs to be your priority. But that's because of the work you did previous to that on your purpose
Hmm.
gave you that opportunity to do that. You know,
Right.
when you get back home though, yeah, your purpose provides for them, so it has to be the priority.
Yeah. Stuff gotta get going. I mean, I think it's big miscommunications
Yeah,
because we don't understand what all these messages are,
right.
and we take it to the extreme with everything. So putting her first, we put them first before everything. Our own health, our own
Hmm.
mental health, our own well-being. We always gonna throw them up, and and what's funny is that that's not what they really want.
Right.
That's not what they really want. He said here, a man's highest purpose is his priority, not his intimacy.
Hmm.
So, in other words, you should focus on what you're doing, not her.
Let me ask you this: do you think some men use the woman and saying they putting her first or saying it's a priority as an excuse to not chase a bigger dream or a bigger focus?
Um, hmm, I believe a lot in subconscious things, and also I believe a lot in people being lazy, and also I believe a lot in people being lost. And
I agree, but
when you say that bigger purpose, a lot of us don't even know what our purpose is.
right,
We
and
just going through whatever everybody tell us.
correct, and I think we use the mundane things like family and
Mhm.
wife and all that as an excuse to never explore
Yeah.
those avenues. And I think that is why women get like don't really want to be number one because they realize, oh, you don't really love me like that. I'm
Hmm.
not really your priority. I'm just your excuse not to chase you, what you should be
So
chasing.
look what he said here. Be careful not to substitute default responsibilities for true purpose.
Mm,
It's not your purpose to take care of somebody.
right.
That's a responsibility. Look at this. Put that woman first is a part of some men's programming from childhood.
Absolutely.
Now
I
that's a
agree.
whole nother thing. I mean, like, Damien said that, and he done kicked a lot of stuff to me, talking about that programming. And
Yeah.
that stuff is ooh boy, that's some deep stuff that I think
Yeah.
we need to
And
devote another show to get into that.
yeah, that's a real thing. I mean, what men are taught through the programming of media and television and all those kind of things to do just that and not be as aggressive about finding out what the truth is and finding out what they should really be doing and what they should really be focused on.
You said they call those simps. That what Freddie said. I mean, but a lot of people program
In
that way.
some cases, in some cases, yes,
But
simping is definitely a byproduct of not focusing on your purpose.
but look at this. Look what he said here. Right after that. And look how all this connect. He said it is also easy to give up entirely on living a life of absolute commitment to truth. That truth is your purpose. Settling for the common life of absolute commitment to what? Work, family, intimacy, and friends.
Yep.
It's real easy just to, like you said, to not do anything with yourself and think you're doing everything because, oh, you know what? I'm taking care of my family. We put that on everything. I'm taking care of my
Oh
family, but you
yeah.
don't never grow up into who you need to be. And we don't realize that when we embrace that purpose and find it and start working toward that, the other stuff come with it. The other stuff be
Right.
there.
The other stuff gonna be better. But I think, it's almost like a free pass. Because
Hmm.
no one's gonna question you and what you're doing and whether or not you're doing everything you can do if your family's taken care of.
Hmm.
If you put a roof over their head and you take them on a vacation every now and then, no one's going to say, well, is he really doing what he could, everything he could be doing? Is he really doing what he should be doing? No one's going to say that if you look like a happy family,
Yeah.
whether
But you,
you are or not.
bruh, it's a lot of trade-offs that
Yeah,
you give up to do that.
yeah,
It's a lot of trade-offs. Um, if you focus on, okay, that's why you know what? I tell people, and I always say money is a measurement, not a goal.
right,
And when people say, "Oh, I need to be six figures, I need to be a millionaire, be whatever," it takes a lot to get that. And the trade-off is all of those things you say you working for, you trading off. It's the more you work, the less time you got for family, intimacy, and friends.
right.
So you have to figure out how you want to divide that up. But back to what we was talking about, yeah, it's easy for dudes to say that because that's all we've been conditioned to do. We've been
Yeah,
conditioned to go out there and work, and that's it. Because that's all our people ever done.
yep. So you really got to figure that out. You got to this. I think this chapter is important because of that because it makes you say, am I doing that right now?
Yeah, and see, that's
Yeah.
the thing. Good question.
Have I done that in the past?
Hmm.
Am I using my family and my wife and all that kind of stuff as an excuse to not focus on my purpose?
Yeah, and I think we need to do something so we can talk through this and help people find their purpose.
Right. And- and
That's a big
That's the
thing.
big one. That's a big one. Like you said a few minutes ago, and people don't even know what their purpose is. Some people haven't even attempted to figure it out. They
Yep,
just they
because
just rolling along.
they wrote they in a ship
Yep.
and the ship just floating and they not even steering it. Um,
Right.
I think I was like that for a long time, man. I figured I was in this ship just floating along, and I was like, okay, whatever God bring me, I'm just gonna do.
Yeah.
And I just floated through, not knowing
Yeah.
that I could steer the ship.
Right.
Now, when we talk about the religious stuff, of course, we that's a whole nother show. If I want to talk about that, we can, but I was wrong.
Well, it's like I was just speaking with someone actually yesterday, and it in the conversation I realized how much I've grown
Hmm.
as a person and how different my life is between where I was and where I am today, just because I chose to live intentionally and
Hmm.
went out and actually did some work to make myself better.
Yeah.
You know, we a lot of times we just roll through this thing and we'll put, oh, we'll save some money to buy this thing, or we'll go to the gym to lose some weight, and or we'll spend a little money to get this or get that, but we won't make an investment in ourselves.
Hmm.
And we never get any better. Like, oh, I won't go to school because I can't afford it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you need that to really progress in your career. You need
Exactly.
that paperwork. So you got to make those investments in yourself.
Well, while we talking about investments itself, when people hear the word investment, they always think of something connected to money. Investment in yourself could also mean taking the time to tune in on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock and read, but I'm serious. Like
Yeah.
to take a look at stuff and read stuff, figure out what other people think and actually compare it and see,
Oh
okay,
yeah.
you know what? This man is going through the same thing I was going through. I'm not crazy.
Exactly.
Like when I got to the point where I figured out that I wasn't crazy,
Yeah. It's big.
that was the point when I found out I wasn't
It's
crazy. And
big.
these books helped me do that. I'm not
Listen,
crazy.
when you read some books, watch some YouTube shows, listen to some people who might be a little bit smarter than you speak. It's amazing learning to that you what you can learn and learning to articulate
Mhm.
your ideas and your thoughts can change the entirety of how you interact with people. Because you've been had all this stuff on your mind for however long, and you finally learn how to get it out.
Yes. And that's the thing. And, and this will connect to finding your purpose because that's the first step.
Right.
But also to how you change your world. How do you change your world? It's
Change
just like
yourself, change
when
your mind.
you wear your shades, when you wear shades, right? You out in the sun and everything is muted and it's you can see. When you go inside, now everything dark. But how do you change that? Take the shades off. It's the
Yep.
same world, you just looking at it different. That's when your life begins to change. Um, so OG said we are programmed to settle for the little things that make us happy instead of going for the big happiness.
Yep. You're right.
I know. We are, and that programming is crazy, man. Like I said, Damien was telling me about a lot of stuff he experienced, and he was talking about programming and how it functioned and how he connected it all together. Man, it was crazy. Like, and OG saying the same thing. We program. You know what we program to do? As long as my family good, I'm good.
Oh, yep. Yep.
As long as they straight off straight.
Yep. No matter
And not
what.
knowing that in the past, our forefathers, they had to do that because they didn't have access to much.
Right.
That's all they could do. Work, be able to work, time after time or work to get the pension. That's all they could do. So yeah, that what the programming was.
Yep. And we got to rewrite the program.
Man, he says here, look at this. If a woman has become the point of your life, you are lost. Let's talk about that for a minute. If a
That's a
woman has
lot.
become the point of your life, you are lost.
Well, I'm gonna tell you why I agree with that. If we believe in what's been said in this book so far, and I tend to think the vast majority of everything in this book has been correct, then and I've seen it play out in real life. He says in this book. Women don't know what they want.
Mm-hmm.
So if your total focus is the woman and trying to keep that woman happy and all that stuff, then you dealing with somebody that know what they want. You ain't gonna you're working at a task you can never succeed at.
Yeah, you're
So
right.
yeah, you lost because what you're doing is pointless.
Yeah, or you fighting, you are doing double the work for nothing. You're not being efficient in your work.
Right.
Because the whole point of your life shouldn't be the person you married to. It's like all right, well, I'm about to show my religious side again, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. In the Bible it say, you thou shalt not have no gods before me, right?
Right.
When you worshiping your wife like that, guess who you put before God? The person
Yep.
in your bed.
As a
Now,
matter of fact, go ahead and finish your thought. I don't want to cut you off.
oh no, man, go ahead. Go ahead.
What he said just now that if your main focus in life is a woman, you're lost. Right.
Hmm.
What's the next chapter? What's the
Oh,
title of the next chapter, Doc?
your excellent track record is meaningless to her. You know what? You want to just go to that one?
Well, I mean, let's talk about it. If
Okay.
your main focus is trying to make her happy, but your excellent track record is meaningless, then every single day you restart.
Yeah. You can't win
You can't build,
because
and
you
we
have to
supposed
guess.
because we as men are builders. So if the
Yep.
track record, everything I've done to this point don't matter,
Yeah.
what the hell am I doing every day?
Man, he break that thing down in that next chapter. He break it way down, and he says
Go,
some stuff.
go.
But
Let's go
before
into
we,
it. Go on here.
all right, before we
Let,
do
let,
that, OG said women have already rewrote their programming. Why haven't we? All right, you know what? That's what we trying. We are trying, but it takes a lot to overcome that. And what's so bad is that the more we try to rewrite it, is other men that's going to fight against us.
yeah,
Is fighting from the inside. That's the crazy thing. Because you know what? I'm gonna say this: to rewrite my own programming, I had to go through a traumatic situation, and I tried to read and study my way out of it,
yep.
and I rewrote it. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. Like I said, I've been married almost 20 years, and we had a spot day that was super rough. It was real bad,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been trying to figure out what in the world going on, and nothing was making sense. And this is where I came to the conclusion: not everybody think like me, because none of it made sense. It was bad, man. We'll talk about that one day.
Hmm.
So, hey, then Damien said that they were taught to do it when they were teaching us to be gentlemen.
Yep.
Ooh, boy.
I don't even think it was when they were teaching us to be gentlemen.
Ooh.
That's not what the gentleman part is not the issue. When they was teaching us to be feminists.
Oh no, bruh. All right. All right, that's true. That's true. But I was looking at Dr. Tiosan Johnson today, and he was reviewing this video, right? With this, I guess this rapper called Blueface or something like that. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I heard the name before, but what was interesting is that they got this reality show, and the girl was beating on him, and they beat on each other. But the girl Fanny ran up on him, right? And the girl daddy was talking to him. And this is what he said. He said, no, whatever, if she hit you first, is self-defense on her. You got to learn to take it. I done went to the hospital with the knife stuck in me. That is the thinking that they program us with.
That's insane.
We got to take, but people believe it. They believe it. I'm serious, man. That happened.
No, somebody to tell that young brother you need to leave.
Oh no, this was the daddy telling him that.
I understand that. The daddy
Yeah.
wrong. I'm
Uh,
saying somebody else need to tell that brother leave.
yeah. Uh,
If y'all gotta get to the point where y'all gotta put y'all hands on one another, it's time to be out.
yeah. But they'll train these young boys. Hey, you shouldn't hit people. You shouldn't hit girls. You shouldn't hit girls. But I always tell students, you don't hit anybody.
Now keep your hands to yourself.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was his father-in-law. It was a father-in-law. So you saw it. We'll go back here. So life is hard. He explains that excellently. Yep. Um, where else we at? Right here. They should have been here to learn. This book helped change my life. See Freddie Brown?
There it is.
Yes. Yeah. That's my book partner right there because he got some more books that we're gonna get into. He gonna shoot us some titles. Um,
There it is.
but yeah, so I mean that programming is there, and that's the hard part about it. But what's also difficult is that people will hear us talk like this and think that it's a negative thing and try
Mm.
to shut it down or have nothing to do with it. Because what I like about this book is that he doesn't cast the blame toward women at all.
No.
Everything he talks about is at us and what we can do and
Right.
explaining what happens in man-centric language.
Yep.
And that's it.
He does not blame women. He says, hey, women are where they are. He doesn't discuss
you,
why.
you can't do that. What was that chapter? He said, you stop trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Don't even try to figure it out. Just do these things to make it better.
Yeah,
But
that's it.
let's go ahead and get into this chapter, man, because
All
this
right.
this
So
is a
this next
very
one.
interesting chapter.
All right. 33. Your excellent track record is meaningless to her. This intro broke down into 3 parts. So I'm gonna look at the 3 parts separately, then we can circle them back up.
Y'all got to listen to this shit. Go ahead, dog. They got
A
to listen to it.
a man's track record means nothing to the feminine. And I like what he said there. Because he didn't say a woman.
No.
He said feminine. And
Yep.
he established earlier that feminine exists inside men too. A man could be perfect for 10 years. But if he's a you know what for 30 seconds, his woman acts like he's always been one. So that's the first thing. That's the first part. You can do something one time. You have to be impeccable every instance. Every instance. Now, the second part to it is this: the feminine responds to the moment of energy, forgetting her man's history of past behavior. Look at this part. A man's past behavior is irrelevant to his woman's feeling in the moment. That works both ways. If you had bad behavior, but you do good that one time, they reset.
Yep.
In other words, and vice versa. And then the last part, but men base much on another man's history of behavior. So they think their own track record should count for something, but to a woman, it doesn't. And that's what we said earlier. When we look at men, we look at what the stuff they done did before.
Yeah.
You know, if you done been a buster your whole life, then you gonna be a buster now. I ain't I had to date myself with that word, but y'all know what it means.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for us, the evidence says the
Mhm.
evidence. No matter what the situation is, the evidence says this is how this is gonna go, or this is how this person is gonna behave. It goes back to the I think and I feel versus facts.
Yeah.
And what it we base our decisions based on what is and what we can tangibly see. Women base their decisions on what they feel at that particular time.
You say you'll be a Mr. Matey. No, I'm masculine.
Why you messing with Mr. Mays, man? That man had us in there making all kind of designs on the computer. Now why you messing with that man?
I remember that time Twan had picked Mr. Matey up and had him on his show. Oh, all
How
right.
far do that man?
Oh man. Um, hey, salute C Writers in the house. And C Wright, we appreciate the 50 stars. You know, you doing with the stars. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start trying to do that myself and start doling out some stars to some of our other compatriots there. But we appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He said, "You remember what we called them?" It wasn't toilet. He said, "Stop, Lamar, stop." Oh boy, man, wow. All
Listen,
right, let's go back to the thing. Oh man,
good old grooves.
yeah. But you know what? So he says here, look at this. He says, for you as a man, it's probably easier to forgive and forget an occasional mistake made by another man who has a great track record. But what pisses you off is when a man does what? Lack integrity and continuously fails at his word.
Yep.
He said even big mistakes are fairly easy to let go of when made by a man who is otherwise impeccable. So we, with dudes, that's how it is. He ain't really like that all the time because he ain't showed us he like that. Something
Right.
had to happen to make him do whatever it
Right.
was.
Right.
But unfortunately, for the women in our life, it ain't like that.
No.
It ain't like that. It's whatever you did that time. There is no
No.
history. There is no nothing.
What Janet Jackson say? What have you done for me lately?
Yes.
You
And
know.
it's like they speaking this language out there and they communicate with one another because all of them get it. And
Yep.
they right in front of us and we don't understand. We
Well,
don't
I mean
get it
that's
at
what go
all.
that speak back to how we set up as men and women. You know. But like you say, it can work both ways. You can be this person that's right all the time, make one mistake, and it counts, and everything you did before count for nothing. Or you could be this person that was trash
Mm-hmm.
and do one thing right and save the day.
And see,
And that's how we get them back. Hell, so
and
after
that's
you
why,
lose, that's how you get them back.
and see, that's it. That's how I think a lot of good women with these no good dudes, because they straighten up for a minute and then it's good to go.
Yep.
That's what they do. Um, so he talks about how to overcome that. And the way to overcome it, this is what he says. He said, don't focus on trying to argue with her and say, this was the only time I did it. Because he used an example early on where he talking about um a man who had to work over at work. He had to work late. But that was the time they were supposed to go out with this other couple. Wife was looking forward to it. When he got home, she was 86 hot. She wasn't hearing it. So
Right.
instead of trying to argue with it, this is what he say to do. As soon as you see she's upset, immediately assume happiness or do the opposite. Shock her with your love, make her smile and laugh with your humor. Surprise her in some loving way, and the emotional slate will be wiped clean. Restore love and happiness in the present moment. Don't justify your little mistake by referring to your long line of successes. So instead of arguing about it and trying to get her to see reason, you know, hug her, love her, do some stuff like that. That'll kind of, like he said, wipe the slate clean.
Yeah, like I said, a lot of times in this book, man, there's some things that he asks you to do. As he's asking this book, aren't gonna come natural to you. They don't come natural to me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
And it's
That's it. You gotta do the
like
opposite.
anything else, you gotta learn, and you gotta be
you,
intentional about being better.
you say give her the business instead of arguing and keep it real. Well, but you know what though? But here's the thing though. You can still do that. You can say what you're gonna say and go ahead and hey, this is what happened, this is what it is. And when you done said it, she understood it, then you can go back and hug her, do whatever. And then it's over.
Yeah.
He said you go for the hug and get clocked instead.
Well, you gotta learn how to read the room. You gotta learn how to
Hey,
read the room and figure out what is it a hug or how you tell a joke and keep some
hey,
distance.
you got, you might catch a hard one. Oh
Yeah.
boy.
You better
It
go.
you
You better
know
go in there with your Floyd Mayweather shoulder roll and your chin tuck.
now I ain't gonna lie. You know what I do? I say what I'm gonna say, and then I'm gonna go watch TV or something. I'm gonna leave you by yourself. Hey, they gonna hear that sound, beating, and the PlayStation and turn on.
PlayStation TV. Right
It
to
did,
it.
it did turn on. Hey, I'll work out my aggressions with Kratos. Do some of that. I ain't gonna lie. I tend when my wife be like that. I leave her for a while, let her sit, and then we'll talk about it later on. But I think my wife different than a lot of other women though. Like her way of thinking is a bit different. So some of these things I don't have to do, but
Yeah,
hey,
she done been with you so long.
yeah. Now OG said I start every conversation with it wasn't me. Hey, look, it wasn't me. But that Jimmy ain't came to work. They had me working. I had to weld together 4 things. Hey, but he ain't
Gotta do
lying to be
something.
true.
Look, sometimes you gotta work late. This is my thing with the whole working thing. And don't complain about me being at work and then complain about not being no money. Pick one.
Yeah, you got to pick a struggle. One or
Yeah.
the
So either you ain't gonna see me or we ain't gonna have.
other. One or the other.
One or the other. Pick one. I ain't got to the point where you can see me all the time and I can make all the money. I'm trying to get there.
Yeah, but you know what though? That's never a time. Never. Because the more money you make, the more your enterprise grows, the more of your attention it takes.
Yep.
And working a 9 to 5, you can turn it off at 5 or whenever your getting off time is. But when you
Right.
start running your own stuff,
It's all the time.
it's 24/7. There's no vacations. There's no other time. It's none of that because you hustling all the time. Because if you ever stop, everything stop.
Yep.
So you got to pick. Can't have both. I think TD Jakes did a whole thing with that. Now there was some stuff in there that we didn't quite agree with, some biblical stuff that wasn't quite right. But his overall message was you can't have both.
Nope.
And
I remember that.
he not yeah, we covered that.
Yeah.
Probably last year. Dang,
Mm-hmm.
bro, it's been about a year. All
Mm-hmm.
right. Well, you ready to move on, man?
Yeah, yeah. Let's keep it moving.
All right, here we go. Chapter 34. She wants to relax in the demonstration of your direction. Now, this chapter here kind of enlightened me a bit because a term that everybody use. They always say, "Well, I want to relax in my feminine. I want to relax in my," but nobody ever explained what that is because I don't even think people know. I think they be
It
repeating
don't.
stuff that they hear,
It's a nice sound bite.
but they don't know. But
Yeah.
he talk about it here, what it is. So, and this is one that I learned, and I'm gonna tell y'all how. Um, I picked this up because I figured I want to be the type of leader that listen to what everybody say.
Mm-hmm.
Your opinion is valued over here. But with her, she don't want to make them decisions. So she
Nope.
asked me. She didn't want me to say like yeah or no, pick the red one. That's just what she want. So because of this book, that's what I started doing. She would ask me something, and if it was one of them things where I didn't care one way or the other, I just say one. I just whatever the second thing she said, that's what I would say. Yeah, do that one, and then she happy because
Yep.
both of them will win anyway. So you just say one. All right.
I, Go ahead.
He
Hit
said,
the
my
intro.
wife finding out. All right, here we go. A woman must be able to trust you to take charge if she relaxes her own masculine edge. That's big. The man doesn't actually have to do all the work, but he must be able to steer the course if his woman is going to relax into her feminine without fear. I think they leave out that first part.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get off that masculine stuff.
Right.
Then you can do this. But
Can't do both.
look what he said right here. The first paragraph, the first line. Some women want to be in charge most of the time.
Yep.
Oh man, he said the desire to guide the direction, like what's on TV or um, handling the remote. They want to be in charge. And then he said, if your woman has more of a masculine sexual essence, she will prefer to be in charge of the direction of your lives most of the time. And he talked in a previous chapter about how we make our women more masculine by treating them like men.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of make do that to your own self. Um, I got so much stuff. If your woman has a feminine sexual essence, then there will be times when she would like to relax and let go of being in charge. So what he's saying is they always gonna want to run the show all the time. That's always a battle. But it's so no matter how feminine of a woman you have or whatever, she gonna want to run the show.
Yep.
It's there. It never fails. Um, but now he said that if if you're not able to take charge, if you don't know the direction you want to go, your woman will feel you floundering. She will have to take charge again since you are unable. She won't be able to relax.
Yep.
He said you have to train them to relax. Mhm.
This is true. To
Yeah.
a certain extent, you have to train them to relax, especially if you start dealing with a woman who has had to do everything for a very long period of time.
Yeah. I mean, and that what he said connects with this. Um, when you flounder and you not certain. So, and unfortunately, this is a sad thing. This is a sad thing because if you don't know or you are uncertain, you can't show that.
Nope.
You can't. I don't care what they say. They say, oh, men need to show more emotions and all that. You cannot. You're going to have to know all the time.
Yep.
Hey, OG say, but can't make a choice on what to eat. I mean, hey,
Well,
oh,
women will
they know
tell
what
you.
they know what they don't want.
Women
Whatever you
women will
want.
tell you. Women will tell you the reason they have such a hard time choosing what to eat is because they had to make too many other decisions all day long, and they don't want to have to make one more. And it's such a small decision they may actually be able to make for them.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you the truth.
I don't ask no more.
That's a cop out. You had to make decisions all day, but guess who else had to make decisions all day?
Yeah, but they ain't the man. You the man.
Yeah.
But I don't ask no more. If I do ask, I ask, do you have a taste for something? If her answer is no, I'm just going where I'm going, or I'm just
Mm-hmm.
saying what I want, and then I'm gonna stand on that because
Mm-hmm.
I asked you if you had a taste for something. So you,
Yep.
if you ask me and you know, hey, you got a taste for something in particular, then I'll go get
Yeah.
a place that serves that type of food. But if they ask,
Oh,
if they don't give me an answer, I'm just gonna pick a
hey,
place and they
and
gonna have
there
to deal with it.
ain't this a restaurant that have a menu item that said I'm not hungry? And it come with like all the appetizers on it. So it's,
Two wings, half a cheeseburger, a half an order of
hey,
fries, or something like that.
yep. He say stop letting them eat our food and they'll learn. And then OG say then go hungry then. Yeah. But here's the big one right there. That word,
Yep.
stoic.
Remain. Remain stoic.
And I'm not gonna lie. In my profession, I have to be stoic all the time. And this job here is tiring.
Yep.
Because where I am, those kids, if they see one chink in your armor, they will rip you to shreds. I got to stay like this all the time. That job is tiring, man. It is. And I think something happened, and my kids were like, "Yeah, Dad don't be doing all that laughing and doing all that." I'm like, "Cause I got to be like this all the time. I got to be all the." And when I do laugh and joke around, it's calculated. I do it on
Yep.
purpose. But
It's
stoicism,
all got to be. 'Cause everything else got to be to a certain extent.
see, we got to learn more of that. So I guess we need to go over the Stoicism stuff. I think Marcus Aurelius had written a lot of things about Stoicism.
Yep, the
Uh
Emperor Marcus Aurelius.
yeah. I'm gonna have to start posting that in the group. I get the book and then take some excerpts out and start posting them. Um so it was oh, this is what I need to talk about. Um he said if you want your woman to relax in her feminine and shine in her natural radiance, he real descriptive, man. Um Vulcan thought of stoicism. Yep.
Yep,
Spot.
yep,
um, so you got to relieve her the necessity to be in charge. This doesn't mean you need to boss her around. It means you need to know where you're heading, how to get there in every way. Now, this last thing, you say financially and spiritually. Now, I'm taking my definition of spiritual. He kind of talks about how you live your life and how you relax and how you do
right.
stuff. I'm taking my definition of spiritual. You have to know where you are and be settled in, because if you don't, then guess what's going to happen? She going to feel like she got to do it. And the next thing you know, she doing that. And
Yep,
she running the whole thing. And that's, you compounding your problem. He said that again, it's not that you got to make a lot of money. You just got to be responsible for your money, for your finances. You ain't got to
yep.
make all of it. You just got to be.
Take
You
care of what
are
you make.
you are expected to be the wise one in the house. Is one thing about a king. This is the thing about a king. And I say this on our nerd shows that I'm the nerd king, and I don't know about all the stuff, but I can connect everybody who do. So as a
Right.
man in your house, you don't have to. Your wife, your girlfriend, whatever, she can be an ace with money, and let her do that. But you need to be able to oversee all of it and see everything and see what's coming and see, how we gonna go. So you don't have to be the one doing all the stuff. And it's kind of like, it's one of those things, like you said, you just start doing it. You gotta just start doing it. And that's the thing. Um, and he says it was even more important is your spiritual direction. And I talk about this on this next one. If your woman feels you have lost your spiritual direction, she will seek the direction herself and attempt to impose it on you, since you don't seem to have any yourself. Bro, listen what I'm telling you. You got to figure this stuff out. You got to be no
Exactly.
way your foundation must be in place. You can't
And
have
I
a
think
foundation built on sand.
and I think a lot of men get themselves in trouble going out and getting into relationships before they had that foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you met her, and I know you love her, and I know she might be good for you. But if
Mm-hmm.
you don't have solid ground you're standing on, you can't build nothing you can't build on sand. You can't
No,
build on that salt. We got to find bedrock before you start building up.
but look at this, man. Even from a religious tip, because that's where I am, that's who I am. You've seen it happen with many famous people, and you may have seen it happen with folks that that they may be one way and they meet this woman and she might be Muslim or she might be whatever, and all of a sudden, guess who Muslim?
Yep.
And why that happens and what it does is this: you can't focus on a purpose if your foundation keeps shifting. You can't go nowhere if it keep changing, because your foundation is dictated, like we established in the beginning chapters, about your internal beliefs and the stuff you set up inside of you. So if you with her and she doing that and changing it, you starting over every single time. You always starting over. So you got to get one and sit there. Hey, Damon said Jay Sims, the lion, is preaching.
I do this for a little reason. I do it for a reason. I know a little something. Every now and then, not all the time. I drop a little knowledge every now and then, make y'all, make y'all come back and say, okay, he ain't all the way crazy.
he just Oh man. Hey, he said that here, if she feels you lacking in your financial clarity and or your spiritual clarity, she will not be able to relax with you. She will automatically begin directing her own life and probably yours too. She will develop her own masculine direction since you are lacking.
I agree with that. And notice he says financial clarity. He doesn't say make a bunch
Yeah.
of money.
It
And then he says spiritual clarity. He doesn't say what you have to believe or how
no.
your belief system have to work. But you got to understand. And I can admit, for me, that's the main thing I'm still looking for
Mm-hmm.
personally.
Right.
I think the main tillers of your life are your financial, your physical, your mental, and your spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
The first three, I'm doing okay. I'm working on my physical all the time. My money, I'm doing better with that than I ever done in my life, and and mentally, I'm in the best place I've been mentally probably ever in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I feel real solid, real strong. Spiritually, I know I'm lacking. I don't really have a belief system.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised in one. I've learned and I've dabbled in some others, but I know that's probably my weakest of the four pillars I think you build on. That's
Right.
probably my weakest one. And I think as a man, you have to address all of those
Mm-hmm.
before you can truly be a complete man, or in this case, a superior one.
Spirit man. Yeah, and I'll say this to um, I distilled it down to mind, body, spirit.
Right.
Mind, body, spirit. And they all have to be in balance. And whenever one is out of balance, everything else kind of fall off. It's kind of like you focus more on your body and you going to the gym, you're working out, but now you're working out 8 hours a day. Now your mind is dropping because you ain't doing nothing with it because all you're doing is lifting, or the spirit
Hmm.
is dropping because you ain't doing whatever your spiritual stuff is. But I would encourage any man to, explore again. You know where I am, but
Right.
I'm not one to force people or coerce people to where I am. That's not what I do. But if somebody has questions about it, we can talk about it, or I govern myself in a way where you can see what that's all about. Because that's what I did. That's what I do. That's me.
Right.
But we have to find that because that's the rudder that steers our life.
Yep.
You know.
It,
Um.
for a lot of us, that's our moral
Mhm.
center
Yeah.
comes from our spiritual belief.
Yeah. Exactly, man. And the thing is, I'll say this and I'll leave it alone because I be y'all know me. I try not to impose a lot of that stuff on this channel. I try my best not to. So, but I'm going to say this: nothing, no religion is perfect. Religion is a man-made thing. It is. Um, and I think once you get into it, you'll figure out what you thought wasn't perfect actually is, and the reason why is because you didn't have the proper perspective to look at it.
Mm.
So I would encourage anybody to take a look at that part of your life, because if that's lacking, then everything else is lacking because you overcompensate. It's like this. All right. Before I got rid of my car, 'cause I bought a new car. I did finally. But before I bought the new car, right, I fixed it. I fixed the axles. I did all this stuff, right. But when I drove the car, it was just doing this, and I thought it was in the front, so it was just shaking. The faster I went, the harder it shook. And the reason why it was shaking because what? The tires was bad. One tire
Hmm.
was bad. It had a big old knot in it on the inside where I couldn't see. That's how life is for us. If one of them tires ain't right, our whole thing gonna shake. We still gonna get to where we going. You still gonna get there, but it's gonna be a rough, bumpy ride, and you ain't gonna want to take nobody with you because they gonna feel your car is acting up the whole time. So,
Yep.
so that's why we have to take time for that. But in context of this, because I'm gonna get off my soapbox. But if y'all really want to talk about it, we can do a show about it. Y'all call me, whatever, and we can do all the stuff. But you just got to have that knowledge of yourself. he said
That's right.
he said we out of we out of alignment. Yep. I
You
got a
right?
whole sermon about that one, being out of alignment. Um, and no matter how perfect you are, you perfection. Look, I know I'm getting off on a tangent, but I'm gonna tell you this, man. I got a video out of maybe I published it, maybe I didn't. But perfection is something that only lasts for a fleeting second. Remember Johnny Carson?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy would get up there and spin those plates, and he's spinning 5 plates, but he got to keep running back and forth. It was only a couple seconds where all the plates was this level. That's it.
That's it.
That's how life is, man. So ain't nothing gonna be perfect. But with this book right here and the stuff he talking about, at least you can kind of extend the time when you ain't got to spin all the plates. you can
Help you a little bit.
it'll
You
last a
know,
little longer.
you're gonna have to spin, but instead of every 3 seconds, you can do every 30 seconds.
That's right. I can take a quick breath because I'm on
Yeah.
autopilot. Oh man. So here's one right here where he said, and I am guilty of this. Very guilty of this. He said, the more ambiguous you seem, financially and spiritually, the more she will need to pour her energy and attention into her own masculine direction and goals. Before I do that, look at here. He said it takes a man to admit that weakness. That's what OG said. Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, real men over here. Real man. um Ambiguous. I used to be like that because I never wanted to
Mm-hmm.
be wrong.
Yep.
So you'd be
Mhm.
afraid to make a decision
I,
or
I
be
call it
afraid to say a thing.
I call it vague. You come very vague. You vague out. You don't
Yeah.
give any solid answers. You
Nope.
know, when you ask again, you can wiggle to the left or the right
Mhm.
at your leisure because you ain't never stood on nothing anyway. And that's a trash way to live.
Yeah.
You
But I
know,
mean,
I had to figure that out. I used to think that was good because it always gave me options.
mhm.
But at some point, you know, a man got to make a stand.
Yeah,
And
you
you got to
do.
stand. You got to stand on that ground and say, "This is where I'm at. I'm holding it down like this." And folks could get on board or get out of sight. Either way, though, you know, you gotta figure out who you are and stand where you're gonna stand at, and pick what you're gonna do in this work.
But the thing about this book, man, what's real is he talks about solidifying yourself first so you don't have to
Right,
do this. You know, um because like me, what my thing was, I never wanted to give the wrong answer. Because
right,
you first get married, you first with somebody, and you when you don't know no better, you're trying your best to always get it right.
right.
I don't want to give the wrong answer. It might make her mad, and I have to deal with that. But then you can't keep going like that. And right here, and the more ambiguous you seem, the more you do that, the more she gonna cause you reason to have to keep doing that.
Yep.
So you got to go ahead and just be it. Just do
Ten
it.
toes. And say stand 10 toes down. We're
That's
going
right.
left. And none of that. Whatever makes you feel better. Well, let's check out both sides and see which one we like the most. Nah, we're going left,
Mm-hmm.
or we going right, or we going straight. And this is what we gonna do.
Because the
And
thing is,
you just and live with it.
but most times, and oh man, look how all this connect up. Most times you done already looked at both sides.
Yeah.
You done already looked at it. But see, she got to get to a point where she trusts you to know, oh, he already looked at it. So
Right.
I'm good. She gonna throw in her opinion, and that's fine. I encourage that. But you still have already did it, and she feel comfortable enough to know, I know he already checked it out.
Yep.
I know he already did it. Um, but rounding this thing out, man, it's 2 things. Well, actually 3 things. Number one, how can you tell if your woman's self-direction is healthy for her? And what he's talking about is when she starts to go out and do things like, for instance, going to work more or take on another job or a job or just any of that stuff. How can you tell if it's healthy? Because again, it's up to us to say, hey, you might not want to be doing that. That
Right.
ain't a good thing to do. It's weighing you down. So I'm built to be wore down. I can do that. And I don't want you to be worn down. So, and he talks about paying attention to, how she feeling, how she acting. Because she acting grumpy all the time, then hey, something wrong. It might be that
Yep.
job or them people she being with. Now, his part here, he said, how can you be more responsible? Not necessarily by doing more work. You become responsible by knowing your deepest purpose and then arranging your finance and spiritual life from knowing that. He put it all out there, man. That's how you do it. So responsibility is inward, not outward.
Right.
We always tend to look at it as an outward thing, but it's an inward thing. You got to get you together first. And when you together, your normal actions is what take care of everybody because it just flows by itself.
Yeah, you gotta build that foundation of who you are and what you stand on and have your code. We talked about all these things before.
Yeah.
You gotta have your code. So when you walk into a situation, the woman has confidence that the person she's dealing with today gonna be the person she's dealing with tomorrow. At
Yeah.
least as far as your belief system.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And I basically think that's what all this comes down to, your track record, all that kind of stuff. Who are you really? And is that what you're showing to your woman consistently?
Yes. He said what here? What matters, and this was the last thing. Um, what matters is if she can feel your loving clarity, wisdom, and certainty of direction. Those three
Yeah.
things: clarity, wisdom, and certainty. Uh, so Damon said, I had to explain my way of thinking to my wife. How I move is based on a formula, formula, formula to build her confidence in me. That's man, that's real right there. Hold, you go. I'm going to get you on to talk about the formula because I think
Yep.
some other men need to know that.
Or at least know how to put one together.
Huh? That's some good
Yeah.
idea, boy. Look at here.
So in closing, Doc, you got anything you want to let the people know out there on the way out?
Oh boy, man, this this whole thing, this whole journey through this book, and again, it was one of my favorites. It was a lot of stuff in it that changed me, and a lot of stuff that changed how I look at the world. Um, and I think if you want to change your life, make your life better, you need to look at the world different and understand that everybody don't think like you. Um, and we just keep moving forward, man. So that's all I got, man.
I'm gonna say this: take some time to build. We say this all the time here on the channel, man. Take some time to build yourself. Know what you want to go. Know what you want to do. Who you want to be before you start including other people in that equation. Uh, Read the book. It's a great book. You'll learn something about yourself and something about the world. Thank you for joining us tonight. We love you. We out.
Peace.